Hello and welcome to today's session of PreSales Insight. Today we want to talk about an emotional discussed topic, diversity. We want to look into diversity and understand why diversity rules. So why is diversity making your company, your team, your life better? My name is Sascha Oehl. I'm a sales and pre-sales leader in Europe, and I'm leading organizations and I'm making organizations better. Diversity is one key ingredient in making organizations better, making them diverse, bringing them different perspectives. And in the next minutes, you will see why this is. So what are we doing today? In the next minutes, we talk about what is diversity and what is it not? Why is it important? Where the root of the problem really sits? How you could be inclusive, and a little homework for all of you. So let's start right in the beginning. When we discuss diversity, we hear different stories about people getting jobs that they're not qualified to, and on and on and on. So let's be clear. Diversity is not about putting someone in a place without the skills. It's not me being put into an orchestra. This would be set up for failure. And this is not the idea of diversity. And this wouldn't make diverse companies perform better. It's about selecting a person from a pool of talented person. When you look a bit deeper into it, and you see a lot of organizations running the topic of diversity, you find a lot of locations like Wikipedia talking about diversity, you will find some key points when it comes to it. So what it is? Firstly, it's the opposite of discrimination. So diversity is not of having another group being better than a group. So it's not about this gender is better than that gender, or this race better than that race, this sexuality is better than that. This is not diversity. Diversity is bringing it together. It's not about discriminating another group of people. It's selecting the strength of different persons into one and making it work for one target, for one organization, for one goal. There one step that is very significant when it comes to diversity. It's the idea of equal development. Every qualified individual could strive for the job. You may this be very natural, but if you look into the past, this was not always the case. Sometimes certain jobs are just for men or just for women. Sometimes certain jobs are just for this gender or just this nation or this race or whatever. Equal development means everyone who's qualified could get the job. And then your role kicks in. Now you have got a set of persons who could do the job. They are qualified. Of course, they are different from each other. They have different strengths, different capabilities, but all of them are capable of doing the job. Now, you could select from the non-dominant group. So if you have got like a company where every person is a woman, you would probably choose a man. If you have much more men than women, you would prefer probably a woman from the group of talented people. Hiring from the non-dominant group. Sometimes the pool of candidates may not give you the choice. But whenever the pool of candidates gives you the choice, go this route. It will enrich your company, your team, and it will help you. We all know that missing diversity can impact all of us. Maybe it's a very simple example. You find a tech product which is basically unusable when you're not a techie person. For a techie person, this is all easy. It makes sense. The user interface is perfectly built for your group of people, but not for all of the others. This is limiting your market space. And you see, this is not building a product for success. Sometimes you will find installations that are much too high or much too low. Here someone put it in place without thinking of the people. And you probably think of security access, face scanning, iris scanning. If you see a Hollywood movie, it works perfectly fine. When it comes to reality, you see, depending on the color of your skin, on the color of your iris, it works better or not. Sometimes it's technology, sometimes it's in the algorithms. Open your mind, open your eyes, and you will see much more examples where missing diversity is limiting products. It's reducing the ability of a company to have success. When we talk about diversity, there's one thing that we could keep in mind. Diverse teams beat non-diverse. Maybe you remember now the time when you were at school. Maybe in primary school you were playing soccer. And everyone, all the 11 of you, were rushing towards the goal and trying to make a goal. That's how you play soccer when you're in primary school. Later, you find out that you perform much better if you work with the different capabilities of people, using them in different positions. And then this team, with the diversity in it, beats the other team. Quite more obvious, it's even in football. When you look into football, you see players of different shapes, different heights, different capabilities. If you mix them up, they are not so good in fulfilling their job. With the diversity in the team, they are much better. Good. This is sports, this is school. How about work? Personia did some research, for example, but this is just one of many sources. And they figured out that diverse companies are 33% more successful. Also, they attract more top talents and are more competitive. Think about it. This is driving a flywheel. You are more successful, you are attracting more top talents, you are more competitive, so you're more successful, and you're attracting more top talent, being more competitive, and being more successful. This is a flywheel that you could start in your environment, in your team, in your company. When we know all these facts, how could it be that we live in a world that's quite often come with discrimination and with quick justice? When we go back a bit in times and how we're made up, probably for living in the woods, in an environment that's not always friendly, it is good to make quick decisions. We are looking for similarities by default, and difference and unknown scares us. This is quite useful. So let's say you're walking in the woods and suddenly a snake appears. You haven't seen the snake before. You have never seen a snake. So if your first thought is, oh, that's funny, I haven't seen it, let's touch it, it could be a horrible, horrible day for you. It is good to go back, to be scared of the unknown, to figure out what this animal is. But you see the difference. We are not living in the woods anymore. We are now living in a human social environment. Now we have to think more about the differences. We have to think about it and embrace it in our lives. And some facts are true. Maybe you think, do I discriminate? And by default, yes, you're doing this and it's wrong. Maybe you're doing it because you think about it and you think that some people are not as good as others. Maybe it's just deep in you and you're not even aware of it. Quickly you could discriminate without even knowing. Sometimes this even happens to the best of us. Some people are fighting so much for a different gender's rights, for a different nation's rights, that they start discriminating others. It could quickly happen. We as human beings quite often judge people by what we see and not by who the people are. But as we think about it, we know that the one-to-many, many-to-one relationship is not working here. Look, check about your perception of genders, nationalities, of thinking, sexuality. Do you have some of them where you feel you could not work with properly? Where you have probably some bias? Think about how you structure your team, your group, the people you bring together for a meeting. Think about all the people you are not having in the group and try to make it a bit broader. Now at this point, usually some people stand up and say, well, the statistics say that this and this nationality has this and this capabilities, or that it's linked to a gender, to a thinking, to whatever. And maybe the statistics are right. Maybe. But it's about how you interpret them. Look, I've got an example for you. Imagine yourself in a job interview. The other person wants the job. It's a male person. According to statistics, male drink like 22 grams of alcohol per day. Women only 9 grams. Knowing this is like 2.5, 3 times the amount of alcohol. Think about what would you ask the person. Do you have a drinking problem? How much alcohol do you consume? Could you stand a whole working day without alcohol? Most likely you would not ask these questions. And it's good that you're not asking these questions probably. But this is an example where you could use a statistic in a biased way. But you, probably in your mind, start sorting this out and equaling and saying this is not representative for the person sitting in front of me. Do the same with other statistics. Maybe you see a statistic about women, about a different race, nationality, or whatever. Think about it and be clear with yourself. It's not one-to-many, many-to-one. It's not because they are a group of people and so everyone acts the same. I'd like to give you another example. And maybe you are like me, a father of kids. I've got 2 daughters. Same father, same mother. 2 people that couldn't genetically be closer together. Think about it. Are they the same? Do they act the same? Are they both the same level of reliable? Same interests? And so on and so on and so on? If you have kids, you know they're all different. If 2 people with the same genetic input, so close together, raised in the same environment, are so different in the end, how could half of the world, or 100 million people living in your country, or a group of people of thousands and 100,000s. How could you think that these are the same? It's not logic. Let's take out the emotions and work with our brain. Now think of you and your company. Why should you do a difference here? Why should you start helping people to become more diverse in thinking? Do you want to work in a company that tolerates or fosters discrimination? Maybe you think, not a big issue, as long as you're on the side of the bullies. But let's be clear, the bully is always looking for a victim. And one day, you will be the victim. You will be the weakest person in the room, and the bully will turn to you. This will happen. Working in a company that tolerates or even fosters discrimination is not fun. It's wrong and it hinders success. People cannot act and think freely. Working through success and giving you some good ideas, it's not working. It's not developing yourself. And if you're a boss in such a company or a manager, your rate of regrettable leavers will increase. It's hard to get talent on board. So don't work actively to make them leave. So where is it coming from? When we think about it, your mother probably told you, like my mother told me, treat people with respect. All of them. Maybe you think you would act differently. Maybe you don't like what they do, how they think. Maybe you don't like the religion, the sexuality personally for your life. But treat them with respect. So how could it be that we've been raised with such things and we live in a world which is completely different? It comes to what your mother teaches you and how deep you put it into your heart. Look, we are built on layers. You see skills that we easily develop. You see an attitude, how a person acts, something you could learn easily. And you see the underlying values. The values are driving the attitude, are driving the skills and the adoption of skills. The values are much more describing us as a person than anything else. And here is the problem with discrimination. If we don't think that other people are of value, if we don't see the value in other people, if we think that our nation is probably better than another nation, or maybe just think that one nation on the planet is not so worthy, if we think the same about maybe sexuality or gender, this is in our value system. There is something wrong that we need to fix. This is something that we have to work on. And then we see where we put discrimination in place, where we're not doing correct, and we adjust it. Looking forward, you will see that not seeing differences is not good enough. Sometimes people see, I don't see any difference, I just make a decision, I don't treat anyone good. But this is not helping you to become a diverse company, to have more success. This is just making it worse. This is like being a bad person to everyone. This is like not understanding about the values. This is like a handyman looking into the toolbox and saying, oh, I treat all the tools the same. I use them all for a hammering. Yes, of course you can do. But it's not good for the tools. It's not good for you. It's not worthy for anyone. You have to see the differences. You have to work with the difference and make something from it. Understand the other persons in the room. Understand their perspective. Be open-minded. Think about their view on the world. Envy the difference. If they perceive the world differently, don't push it away. Try to understand them. Think about how you could use it in your team, how you could use it for your company, and how you could together be a stronger team. Understand the team's gaps. Maybe you're working in a very techy team and you say, wow, the team persons here are very techy. Bring in other people to your team meeting. Bring another perspective into it. Help them to understand other people. If you've got open racks, fill them with talent and fill them with diverse talent. You have the chance to make a difference. You can make it better. Don't talk about someone should do it. Don't talk about someone should make it. Someone is a person who's referred to most in companies, but it's not existing anywhere. We have to make the difference. We have to make the difference in the daily work. We have to make the difference in the hiring. We can make it better. We can bring diversity in the meeting, in the group that we're working with, in the team, in the department, in the company, and we can integrate them. And here you see another thing that comes up quite often. Sometimes a company recognizes a problem and says, well, we don't have diversity here. So in the hiring, our target is to have this and that percentage of people coming from that group of persons, often referred to as quota people, often referred to people who got in the job just because of the quota. Maybe you are the quota person. Maybe someone else is a quota person. Think about it differently. If you are the quota person, you have the job because you are qualified. You have qualified, you have the capabilities, you have the skills, you have been in the pool of the talented people. You've been in the group of the best of the best. While in this group were some people, the company needed to choose just one person. All of them, fantastic fit for the job. A company is setting up for success. They selected you because you were in the group of the best in the best. Also, stand ground. If you got a job, regardless if you're a quota person or not, there are haters in the company. Some people simply want to talk badly about someone being promoted. Some people wanted the job for themselves, and they start talking dirty. This will happen. For you, for me, for anyone on the planet. Stand ground. Be aware, you've been primarily selected not because of the quota, but because you're great and you're a perfect fit for the job. If you're someone who's struggling with a quota person getting a job, because maybe you wanted the promotion too, your feelings are understandable, and maybe you're disappointed. But you would also be disappointed if someone else gets the job, and it's not you. There was just one job, and maybe 5 or 10 or 20 people looking for the job. Naturally, this leads into 18, 19 disappointed persons. Don't struggle with it. Next time you've got a new chance, don't start unfair talk. Unfair talk is not doing any good for the other person and also not for you. No one is promoting the unfair talk person. Don't get yourself dragged into all this. Don't start talking and discussing if this person is capable at all. Frankly, if this person wouldn't have been capable, the company wouldn't have selected the person. Be open. Understand that this person maybe has not your skills, but other skills. Approach the person. Learn. Envy. Bring it into your life. Grow yourself and take this as an opportunity to build up your skills, to build up your capabilities. Support them like you would support your friend being promoted. This helps you to get over it. This helps you to be a good performer in the company or in another company. And don't get dragged in dirty talk. This is not helpful for anyone, and it will hinder your career ultimately. So how could you be prepared for it? We know that we want to have promotions. We know that we're not getting always the promotion, and sometimes we're losing against a quota person. How could you prepare for it? How could you make it easier for yourself looking into it? Now, here comes the exercise for the week. Find the superpower. So, I strongly believe that every person on the planet has a superpower, something that they really can do great. Maybe you think now of a few persons where you say, well, they don't have a superpower at all. Please look deeper. Look again. Of course, you have not seen the superpower, but it's there. Look at the person with an open mind. Look at him and say, what can they do good? It's not like this has to be something that they need in the job. It could be something in the personal life, in the hobby, or other capabilities. Look at it. And now here comes the homework. The first step is find the superpower. Second step, tell the other person. Tell the other person that you've looked at them and you found something that makes them special, that you admire them for. Explain them what it is. Help them to see the good in themselves through your eyes. Now, a few numbers. Let's do this with 3 colleagues that you are not working together on a daily basis. Look in your company. Maybe you've got someone, you've got touch points every week or every second week or so. Look at them. Why do you feel this person is great? And tell the person. Take 2 persons of your family, maybe your partner, maybe your kid, and tell them what makes them special. Why do you admire your kid? What is the thing that they can do that you can't? And you're not better than the kid. Yeah? They have capabilities that you cannot do at all. Find it, tell it. And one stranger. Maybe you're going on a business trip and meet someone in the bar. Maybe it's a colleague from another group or department coming into your environment just for a week or a day that you've never seen before. Look at them exactly the same way and tell them. Believe me, it feels strange in the beginning. But do it and take the feedback, take the result. Write down what you would like to learn from this person. Grow with these persons. Make your thinking more diverse. See the good in others and embrace the diversity. In the last minutes, we've talked about diversity and what it is. We talked about why is it important for a sports team and for your company. 33% more successful. We talked about the root, the stuff that we have from older ages still in our programming. And we talked about being more inclusive and a small exercise. I want to say thank you that you worked with me through this topic. Please look into your company, look into your team, and be the ambassador for being a bit more diverse and help others to grow. Thank you for staying with me, and I hope to see you again in the next session.